Welcome to No Question About That. It's the Mailbag pod, because, got nothing else to talk about, apparently. I'm Ed with Dominic today. How's it going?
Good, thank you, Ed. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a little while. You've been busy.
Well, that's what having a 5-month-old baby does to you. You find that all your waking moments, well, they literally are waking moments, not asleep moments. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've got 3. Not babies. Children. Grown-ups. Not grown-ups. Older.
Forward to that stage or not, but everyone I speak to seems to say the opposite to the previous person. So
the secret is, from age 0 until forever, they're bloody difficult, complaining, expensive, tired-inducing, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, all of the above.
There's some good stuff as well. All right, we're going to take a few questions, probably encompass all the kind of issues on hand at the moment. There's quite a lot happening at the club for a club in 14th place in the Premier League. Ollie Espinaz says, what's your priority ranking of importance need for signings in terms of positions in the system? I mean, this is it, really. It's the whole ball game for the summer, isn't it? Like how to get the right players. What are your thoughts on how you'd rank the need?
Yeah, I think you touched on this with Daniel the other day where you were talking about goalkeeper or striker, and
that's Daniel's particular desperate.
I'm not far off him. I'm not far off him on that one.
I think that's fair enough. Not far off him. I'd have goalkeeper down the list, and not because I think Anana's not a problem. It's just there are bigger problems.
Yeah, I think you always sort of think about building a football team. They say build from the back, but I kind of think with the nature of Amorim's system and our defenders and the amount of options that we have at the back, like you said with Daniel, you can keep people away from your goal, and your goalkeeper is not going to completely throw everything in, even Andre Onana. So I'm ranking almost from the top of the pitch back in terms of priority. I think a number 9, then a number 10, and then probably back into a central midfielder would be my top 3. I know some people are talking about United needing wing-back signings, but the budget isn't going to stretch. So it isn't going to stretch that far, or is only going to stretch so far. With the likes of Amas coming through, Ahmad coming back, able to play the wing-back role, that's fine. That's probably below goalkeeper. Actually, come to think of it, in my head, in terms of priorities. That number 9 just has to get sorted. We just have to find a goal scorer. It's kind of embarrassing that United don't have anyone to put the ball in the net at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. Number 9. Number 10 becomes a priority if and when we sell the 3 others, Anthony, Sancho, Rashford. Obviously none at the club at the moment. There's gaps there. I would also like to keep Alejandro Garnacho, 19 goals and assists this season. As frustrating as he can be, that's a hell of a lot for an under-20. I mean, it's just a hell of a lot. So I think only Lamine Yamal will beat him with that this season. Central midfielder, ball-playing, carrying type player. Frankie de Jong mould, I think. I'm not saying Frankie de Jong, he earns £500,000 a year, a week. A year, right, Frankie. Yeah.
He's good. He's not that good.
He's good, yeah. I mean, Edison is also a very good fit. I think we mentioned him before, but I mean, like, who knows? Another expensive signing. Wing back, yeah, right, wing back. I just think the question becomes, do we see Ahmad as a forward or a wing back? Because if he's going to play about half his games at wing back, where in games where we expect teams to sit deep and we don't expect loads of space, I'd like to see him play at wing back, because I think he just, his driving runs, even from there, open up space. That negates the need for another right wing back signing. I mean, Harry Amas's emergence, as you said, on the left, we just don't need another left wing back. I mean, we've got Dorgu, who's done all right. Amas, I think we trust him already. Sure, if we need be, but I think he has to reinvent himself for the last year of his contract as a left-sided central defender, which we know he can do. We also have Diego Leon coming in. Obviously, we don't know how long it's going to take for him to develop. He's young, even if he looks like a stacked. He's quite chunky, isn't he?
Is he 17 as well?
17,
like an absolute specimen for his age. Yeah, I mean, when I was 17, I did not look like that.
He's been on the creatine and protein shakes, no doubt.
Fair play to him.
All right. I think that's about it. I think that's the priority, isn't it? I mean, like more signings beyond that. Another forward player, if there's someone who can put the ball in the net, maybe. It's just we've got a lot there, right? So you'd like two strikers, right? So are we saying that Højlund next season rotates with Delap if United do that deal? I mean, obviously, it's very affordable, Delap. There are other teams who want him, so I don't think it's a done deal. Osimhen seems off the table, even though Dan and I did a whole pod about him yesterday. We'll see. Wages thing is what the noise is coming out of the club. That's probably fair enough if they're trying to restructure the wages. I think you can make an argument saying, hey, United will never get back to the top if 200 is the cap. It's just right now, 200 is the cap. Doesn't mean in a year's time it is, and definitely in 2 years' time, once they've unwound some of these problems, it won't be. So,
yeah, I'm not sure about the Lap Højlund thing. I know you covered this again yesterday, but you need a proper marquee number 9, and Liam Delap doesn't seem to be that. Although I do like him, and I think for the 30 million fee, he's very, very appealing as a prospect. But you don't want to be left where it's Delap or Højlund, and I don't even know where to factor Xerxes in. He probably comes into the.
It's one of the tens.
Yeah. Do you sell him and then get Cunha in? That's the debate there. So it could get complicated, to be honest.
Christian Vivel, Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada.
Earn your money.
You got to earn your money. Yeah. Well, on Delap, Mick says, do you think Delap would fit an Amorim system now that Victor is off the cards? Hold me, Ed. He's always asking me to hold him. The weirdo. He just needs a hug. I'll give you a hug.
I assume that's based on something that the listeners don't need to know about the way he's saying that.
He drops into YouTube and Blue Sky and Twitter and asks me to hold him. So
we all need a bit of a hug given United's recent travails.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
does the lap fit United? Is the question, I guess.
Yes, the system. Fit the system.
It does fit the system, yeah, massively, because you need that battering ram type, right? And then he's got legs. He's a physical specimen. He can hold the ball up and link the play. I mean, that's what Højlund is. I know he's not scoring goals, but he's also not doing that. That's my biggest problem also with Højlund. If he was contributing to the overall play and looking like one of the 11, I don't know if you could forgive the lack of goals because he's the United number 9, but you could sort of explain it in the way that you can explain Xerxes' lack of goals, because he's just not a goal-scoring forward. He does other things. Delap, I think he does do a little bit of both, so I like that for him. It's just what I just said previously, I guess. Does he carry the burden on his own? It feels like a lot for a player of his level of experience. What is he, 22 now? He's had a couple of seasons in the Championship and then one in the Prem. So it's a lot to ask. It's a massive, massive ask.
And a career of XG underperformance if you want to be nerdy about it. Yeah, it's we're Champions League next season, if we got it. Apart from this season, yeah. So yeah, Delap Højlund would make me extremely worried, and it'd almost be it. Yeah, I mean, if I'd been told that they decided that Højlund was off the cards a while back. They're trying to get him out. It's just the PSR cost. If you divide 64 by 5. You've got like £13 million a season, plus his, or I guess you could say minus his wages when they come off the book. They're not that high. That is a big number for someone to pay for him. The paper reports today say 30 United will take. That means an impairment charge of 8 million or so. Would we accept that? That's an 8 million reduction in our budget this season in order to get rid of Højlund, in order to make space, and then you buy another one. But it'd have to be an experienced forward. Just have to be. All right. Hannes Abrahamson says, what are your hopes for the league and possibly Europe next season? What would be a good season for you? I understand it could be hard to answer now because of where we are and we don't know the personnel for next season. I mean, I don't know. It's United, right? Like, we've lowered our standards so bloody much that conceptually, me even saying top 4 in a trophy, the Andy Mitten standard for what is acceptable, yeah, all right, I guess so. We'd take that, wouldn't we, in the context? I just think in terms of United, like of what we were from 1993 to 2013, you're like, that's not enough, is it? You want to be challenging for the league. Maybe that's just too much in one season, even if we did the good business. I mean, you definitely can. Look at Forest, right? They They are third in the league on 39% average possession, right? And they don't create that many chances, right? So you can do it with the right kind of structure and system. It's just Amorim's going to build a possession-based attacking system. I think there are going to be a lot of mistakes still next season. So top four in the trophy. You?
I think that is ambitious. Honestly,
feels like it from 15th. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be. Basically, I've done this on podcasts for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and every time I've forecast the next season, I've been way too over ambitious and optimistic. I remember predicting that we finished second after we became third under Ten Hag. I thought that we'd be the closest challengers to City after that. That summer is now going to go down in the annals of history as one of the worst ever, right? Like, just, yeah, that was the Hoyland summer. That was, yeah, United didn't get much right, and the football under Ten Hag became more and more haphazard, which I didn't really see coming because we were quite tight defensively in the first season of him. And in the past, I've thought title pushes were on the cards when they quickly came undone. I mean, that famous Ollie season after the Varane, Ronaldo, Sancho signings. Everyone thought a title challenge was coming then, right? Everyone was anticipating that, and it unraveled in really ugly fashion. So, having said all that, time for me to be ultra realistic and say I think, never mind a trophy, because we know that they can be almost millstones around managers' necks and false indicators of progress, as Ollie famously said. So I'm thinking a top 6 finish with some sort of progress around the performances, dominating games, just beating bad teams at home would be a nice start. Just guaranteeing ourselves 10 wins against the bottom 10 at home.
Yeah,
would just be a lovely sort of base for any season, and to build confidence in Amorim's football. So
yeah.
I'm taking 6th. Maybe that's
it just has to be European football, right? United cannot budget. I mean, apparently they're budgeted for Europa League. Fine, 40 odd million if you win it, but it's just so much less than the Champions League. It just has to be European football. Otherwise, we're like, this it's almost impossible to build. Like the teams that are in Europe or the Club World Cup just stretch away from us, like in terms of budget.
Club Cup fees are insane. So
yeah,
the likes of Chelsea are going to get a big boost off that, and
150 million. It's incredible.
Look at what Villa are even able to do in January with bringing in big name forward players, Asensio, Rashford, Malin.
Anthony says, the Glazers have sodomized our heritage, sunk us financially, reduced us to utter shite on and off the pitch, and utterly angered and depressed the fan base. That's it. Yeah, no. Still, good news about the chocolate oranges. What hope is there that anything will improve before they finally piss off? I don't get the chocolate oranges reference. What am I missing here, Dominic?
That's Partridge, right? I think is a Partridge reference.
Yeah, it's Partridge.
Yeah.
So
it's nice to see another Partridge reference in the wild. I mean, that's more of a rant than a question, to be honest. But I guess the final bit, what hope is that anything will improve? I mean,
when will they piss off? They will piss off. I'm pretty sure about that. I mean, of course, things change, but just the way the deal was structured said to me that there was this timeline between sort of 18 months and 3 years that Ratcliffe would take control, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't really have structured it like that with a buyout price. Effectively, a buyout price. It's a floor for the price for any third-party takers, where the Glazers could sell and force a drag along. But basically, it's saying this is our acceptable price.
The only issue is if Ratcliffe's made these threats about walking away if he gets abuse, and if he doesn't fancy it anymore, which it's not what you want to hear, right? Because it's part of the deal. You've become not the majority owner, but the controlling owner of Manchester United. You're going to be quite unpopular with some decisions that you make, especially if you do what Ratcliffe has done. So he's got to live with that. And United fans don't really want him to walk away, because I think it becomes more messy if he does just say, no, I don't fancy this. Here's my stake back. Glazers retake full control, or somebody else comes in who isn't maybe interested in having sporting control, and have experience of it like Ineos have. I fully agree that Ineos have made some pretty awful errors so far running United, and the Ashworth and Ten Hag decisions will hang heavy on Ratcliffe until he gets it right, until things fall into place on the pitch. So that's my concern. And the Glazers having an element of control back is still possible in the future. It's not what anybody wants to hear.
Theoretical, I think, rather than realistic.
Yeah, it is. It's probably theoretical, and the likelihood is that they sort of gradually piss off percentage by percentage point, and somebody else assumes that role. Probably will be Ratcliffe, but it could be somebody else, couldn't it? I mean, maybe the Qatari consortium come back in. Who knows?
Yes, check Brent's timeline to see what the latest is on the PR. Yeah, I mean, I think the way they structured it, Ratcliffe will want to seek full control. I don't really see why he wouldn't. I mean, he's got the means. I mean, definitely has the means if he wanted to liquidate any stock holdings, because a lot of his wealth is in that. Let's have a look at how much he pays himself as a dividend this year out of Ineos. Previous financial year, it was about £500 million. Nice work if you can get it. So I didn't pay myself that kind of dividend this year. But, hey, work in there.
Maybe next year, Ed.
Yeah, you never know. So my bet would be that they will be out of full control at least. I can tell you whether it will be 100% Ratcliffe control, but out of full control within the next 18 months or so. That's what I think will happen. Then they're going to have something like, because there's an ego there, right? So expect Joel to be president emeritus for the next 20 years or something like that, and have seats in the box for ever and ever and ever, or something like that. It's pretty.
The chance won't go away until that day comes, will they? It did feel a little surreal when the sort of the non-Ineos takeover was completed, and there was that optimism around the deal, and yet you were still hearing anti-Glazer chants at the stadium. It's really commendable from the supporters, to that cause of getting the Glazers out. And it's been proven bang on. The Glazers do need to be rooted out absolutely completely, clean sweep. And only then maybe can United move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, that's partially true. I mean, certainly in terms of releasing money. I don't think they're having any decision-making or operational control now at all. It doesn't seem to be. It's all Ratcliffe's people in charge. The question of, like, what do we do about the debt? Now, we're not paying dividends anymore, so that's taken £22 million out of the system, out of the outgoings. The debt is costing United well. The principal would be 20 and a bit, like the interest on the main debt, the bonds that are due in 2 years' time, mature and have to be refinanced. Obviously, we're in a much higher interest ecosystem at the moment. That's going to cause some problems and need to be refinanced. Will that be around about the time where Ratcliffe takes control? If he has enough control or total control, then there may be an incentive for him to either leverage Ineos's financial power or his own personal financial power to pay down some of that. And the dream scenario, of course, is debt is wiped out, or to some substantial degree that the interest payments are pretty small. We've got to fund a stadium as well. And the Glazers are fucked off back to Florida or Washington, D.C. They can throw their fundraising parties for their favourite politicians, and we never had to hear from them again.
Yeah, well, the Glazers' legacy or non-legacy with how they neglected the stadium has been completely contrasted with Ratcliffe's commitment to this new stadium. So that is the thing that will bind him to the club, to see that project through. And you just got to hope that during that time, United get their act together and stop being such a mess on the pitch at the same time. Otherwise, we're going to have the best stadium that the Championship has ever seen, and that'll be Ratcliffe's legacy.
Yeah, Rasmus Højlund scoring the opening goal of the 2033 Championship season at the Sir Jim Ratcliffe end. Or he would do if he didn't fluff one from 2 yards out. Yeah.
I said to my mates, I can't wait to take my baby son to the Championship playoff final as his first game. So, yeah, that'll be good.
You've got to have some gallows humour. Although the way we're going, that might be optimistic. Yeah. Deary me. All right. Friend of the show, Morton Mobrenna, says, JJ Gabriel, fairy tale in the making, the football world's largest train wreck in decades bound for ugliness, seems to be the best and worst of modern day football talent. I mean, I don't know about the off the pitch stuff really. I don't know if you've heard anything. If Morton is like suggesting something there, the talent on the pitch. I mean, I don't know. I've seen sort of clips and highlight reel like everyone else. He's 14 or 15 years old. What is he? He's
14, I think. Yeah,
yeah.
Kid Messi.
Kid Messi. Yeah,
That's the first thing that comes up on Google when you search JJ Gabriel's name.
Yeah,
so that's not a bad sign in itself.
The problem is like the path from 14 years old to being a first team regular is just littered with. There's just a trail of bodies. I think I saw Arsene Wenger, technical director at FIFA or UEFA, or one of them, maybe both, said he said at one of the Soccer conferences that of players that are in the in Premier League or elite academies, only 1% ever make it through to making a first team debut. That is probably 1% and 1% that want to make it into an academy and make it to the under 8s, under 10s, under 12s age groups. And he said that 21% of academy players at elite academies are no longer playing professional football by the time they're 21. I mean, that is just shocking. And I mean, it's the pyramid of talent, right? I'm sure that is true across a lot of elite sports, that kind of structure. Just to say that, maybe a huge talent right now, but odds are stacked against him making it.
He's basically, he's at the start of that gladiator game where there's 5 gladiators lined up. Is it the gauntlet? And each one of them is a different age group or injury or a setback or a manager that doesn't fancy him at youth level, change of position. There's a million and one things that could affect him between now and that first team debut, even if that comes at 16, 17, which is the earliest it could possibly come. Ethan Nwaneri, did he make it his debut at 15 for Arsenal? But I think that is very, very rare these days. They are treated with the kid gloves at the academies. And rightly so, you don't want them getting kicked to death and never seen again after making a debut at 15, 16. Mm. That 13-1 sort of victory that United's under 18s had over Leeds is going to be one of those articles that's referenced, isn't it, in future years? What became of these players, and will we ever see any of them at first team level? You have to think so. I think there's Jim Thwaite as well, who's very exciting, who scored and featured in that game as well. I can't remember whether Biancheri scored in as well, but he's another one to look out for. The striker
very talented
from Cardiff. Yeah. I've heard big things about him from people down in South Wales as well. So this future is bright for sure, but maybe let's not pin all our hopes on poor old JJ Gabriel.
Yeah, good luck to him. Yeah. When I was writing a lot, more than I do now, and when I first started doing the pod and social media was first becoming a thing, a lot of players like at youth level used to get in touch and ask me for a shout out. It doesn't happen anymore. I'm no longer important in the world of Manchester United football media. And I say that just because my Instagram, it has all the feeds of all these players that used to play for United or at youth group levels 13, 14, 15 years ago. And almost none of them are in any kind of significant position in football. They're well down the pyramid with careers. So at least some. Yeah,
that's the thing. Though, you if they get careers down Championship, League One, League Two level, they've done really well. They've done really well. I remember seeing Hannibal Mejbri, and he actually got some first team games at United. But I never thought when I watched him play under 21, under 23 football that he was going to make it at United. He was just way too rash, way too emotional. Talented, but I just thought this kid's not going to get, a kick. He's just going to get pushed off it and wound up by various shit houses around the Premier League. But look at him, he's involved in a team that's just stormed to promotion of the Championship. Yeah. Could well be playing in the Premier League next year. So
reinvented himself as well, And I think it was partly that loan at Birmingham where he went from number 10 to number 8, and he's had a good season at Burnley as a midfielder. Not even really a goal-scoring midfielder.
He's number 8, but he's a really solid player now.
Yeah, that's it. And hopefully, I mean, I can't tell you if Scott Parker's a good manager or not, honestly, but
he must know how to organise a defence because they've conceded about 3 goals all year. I think 15 in the whole season, which is crazy good. But they probably still
crazy good
down.
In any league, but in a Championship as well, where everyone beats everyone and it's so tight. Yeah. It's really good. not that I'm wishing any good luck to Burnley and their supporters, but a very good performance, yeah. All right, K. Hayes says, how different are Rashford and Cunha? If Rashford's attitude and inability to press saw him out the door, should we be worried about Cunha? It's a lot of the budget. It is a lot of the budget. Yeah.
It is, but I think, sorry to jump in, and obviously you spoke about Cunha yesterday a little bit with Daniel. I think 62 million is a good price for him. At his age, with that amount of Premier League experience, I know that can be overplayed, but United kind of need a couple of signings who are like oven ready, straight in, good to go, don't need that nurturing period. How many have we had in recent years where they've needed time and sometimes they've not got the time, or they've had a year or two and they've still not made the grade? Look at Anthony, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Cunha is £20 million cheaper than Anthony for a start, if that's our comparison figure. And I think that the question about him off the ball and pressing, I'm not concerned about that with Cunha. I'm concerned maybe about his lack of pace if he does play in that 10 role and it's him and Bruno. You haven't really got someone running beyond the back line with those two. You probably would need an Ahmad or a Garnacho to be playing alongside them, or alongside one of them. Honestly, I think Cunha's got a lot of pluses. He's not someone I'd be worried about United spending £60 million on.
No, in my pros and cons, there's more pros and cons with Cunha. He's oven ready, as you say. He will fit straight in. You'd think he'd be able to perform from the day. What I'd be looking for from him, just because he's sort of XG overperformance, and it's an XG overperformance because he scored some belters, basically.
Because he's brilliant from the edge of the box, basically, isn't he?
Yeah, and someone shooting from there is great. We just don't shoot enough. Just don't. And so that's good. He is technical ability on the ball, physicality. He's not slow, but he's not super quick, as you say. I'd be looking for another step up, a bit like, Rafinha having a 15-goal season at Leeds, going to a 30-plus goal season at Barcelona. I'm looking for that kind of step up. We need someone who'll get a good number of goals. And the worry is that XG over performance is saying he's actually really not a big goal scorer. And because he wasn't at Atletico either. And he was kind of interesting as a kind of rampaging forward at Hertha. Went to Atletico in a 4-4-2 and he didn't suit him at all. And he just, he scored like 6-8 goals in a season and they dumped him straight away. So
I think the fact that Simeone fancied him shows the off the ball stuff is there, and like
his pressing data is good.
The bastard inside almost is there as well.
Yeah. The pressing data is good. I'm not worried about that. It doesn't track back at all. And if the comparison is with Rashford pressing is not good, and it's not actually what people say, which is he can't be bothered, because he does. If you watch him, he will try and press. He does it really badly. He's not a good presser. He doesn't really like doing the tracking back, although I note at Villa, when he's been playing in a wide area, and mostly he's been playing through the central areas right now, he's doing it. And I wonder whether that's just like Emery demands it and he's bought in and he realises last chance saloon to get either a move to Villa or a big move somewhere else, right? Can't fail again. So, and if you look at him, his data, and just the last thing on Rashford, just as a comparison, the number of sprints he's making has always been incredibly high. He's number one at Villa again, right? So it's a very different style of player. I don't think Cunha's a player who'll ever get 30 goals in the season. We know Rashford could, but it looks like an outlier in his career now. So,
and that's why United need a striker as well as Cunha. You can't be saying Cunha, even in Xerxes, none of those are goal scorers. Højlund, also not a goal scorer. Liam Delap, not a proven goal scorer. So these are all the things that United's recruitment team are going to be juggling. And that's why names like Osimhen, who is the only proven elite goal scorer that United seem to be linked with regularly at the moment, his name keeps coming up for that reason. I'd be shocked if United got Osimhen and Cunha. Really, really shocked.
Yeah.
It's probably just not going to happen. United need to find goals from creative sources. And I don't mean creative in the sense of a number 10. I mean creative in the market.
Yeah. And all over the pitch, right? Just need to score from all parts of the pitch. But yeah, if you've got whole bunch of slow, non-scoring, forwardish players, then you've got a problem, right? Xerxes, Bruno, Mount, all feel like the same player. Cunha a bit different, but not that different. Obviously, we're assuming Rashford, Sancho, and Anthony will go in some fashion. But yeah, there's a lot of players who don't score enough goals. Bruno scores. I mean, he's got 33 goals and assists this season again. Like,
it's impressive stuff.
And man's Rashford, incredible.
Is incredible, and he should be. I've seen his name in social media teams of the year and stuff like that, and I honestly think that he deserves it. And it may be massive United bias, but he has carried a team on his shoulders this year. In the same way that Cunha's kind of carried Wolves, actually, which would be really interesting to see them playing together. I think Daniel said it again. They seem like a kind of a match made in heaven. And maybe I'm being too over optimistic about potential signing, but God, at this point, we have to be.
Yeah, I mean, if they do those deals, then the point that make MUFC great again, on Blue Sky says.
Spurious name.
Interesting name, but yeah, we can all get behind that. Does a potential front three, including Delap, and can you get your juices flowing? I mean, who's the other one, right? I think we've seen this season, it's interesting that Bruno's played about half his games under Amorim in central midfield. It doesn't seem to have blunted his ability to create. I thought it might, but he's just all over the pitch all the time. But it's Cunha, Bruno, and Delap at the right front three. There's no ball carriers there, really. Cunha does do a bit of that, actually. But there's the balance when Ahmad was in the team and driving at players was really nice, right? Because it disrupts the opposition defence, especially in a low block when someone is able to beat a man. Garnacho is a very low dribble percentage. I think he might be the number one ranked worst dribble percentage of any forward in the Premier League. But he does try it a lot, right? That's partly, he carries the ball really well over big distances. And I think you've got a nice balance of forwards there. I'm just trying to think what the best blend is in one particular 11.
Yeah, I think I'm going Bruno deep. I have really enjoyed him in those deeper positions. Like you said, it hasn't blunted his creative ability. His passing is just made for it. It's just the way he plays the game is made for that position. And the problem is you have him higher up. Like I said, it's the lack of pace, but also you have basically 7 defensive-minded players on the pitch, and then 3 attackers. If you either need Bruno in the 2 central players, or you maybe need Ahmad at wing back to offer that extra attacking presence on the pitch.
Yeah.
But I think I probably would go Bruno deep, and then Ahmad, Cunha, and Delap. And then you get Dorgu, and I guess it has to still be Dalot right wing back, as much as it pains me to say, but at least that offers enough variety and just a variety of abilities. What people are bringing. Ahmad's bringing the pace, Cunha and Bruno bring the creativity, and then Delap I think he's a slightly better version of Højlund. I think he probably would score more goals than Højlund if he played in that setup next season.
Yeah, my only problem with Bruno deep is when he comes really deep and he's trying to get the ball off the central defenders with his back to goal, and he does some stupid flick around the corner and loses a possession and stuff like that. We saw that at Arsenal, like the away game at Arsenal. The first thing he did, I was like, oh dear. He actually had a good game that game, but
is he better there, or is he better pressing like a headless chicken at the front? Which he also
and he really is headless as well. Yeah, that's it. You get a whole bunch of players who are willing to run, but are not coordinated, and it's a waste of time and energy. Literally, you just should sit in a low block. So, all right, yeah. I mean, that's on Amorim. He's got to get the balance right somehow, and on Vivell and Wilcox to bring the right players in, so we have the different options for different types of games. But the presumption is, like, we've got to be able to beat crap sides regularly in order to get into that top 6, if that's our goal for next season. All right, on that, Sushant says, should Amorim be kept on even if he wins the Europa League, like Ten Hag was for the FA Cup? League form very bad. Not sure how many new players would be needed for the system to work. And then we won't be sure anyway. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sack him even if he doesn't win the Europa League, just because, like, what was it achieve? Like, you put another manager in here. We've had 6 now, or whatever it is, with even more with interims since Fergie left. I mean, obviously, there's a limit, right? If we're 14th again this time next season, like, I will be saying he's got to go, I'm sure. Like, because something dreadful has gone wrong if that's the case. I don't see it. I see what he's trying to do on the pitch, and he's trying to do it with the wrong tools. What's your assessment?
I'm shocked that that's even a question, because I know there are some dissenting voices against Amorim, and I understand it. Results are poor, but you have to take these results in context. Amorim, for the past 2 or 3 games or more, has known that the league season is a dead duck. He's playing Tyler Fredrickson for the first time in the back three. He's keeping Bruno on the bench for the first time since January 2023 or something. He is putting all his eggs in the Europa League basket, and he absolutely has to. The club has to. So I don't think you can really judge him off the league form. You can judge him on where United were up until about March, and that was in a really poor position, and the performances in the league have been nowhere near good enough. And Amorim's almost taken responsibility for that himself, hasn't he? He said that he is underperforming, that he needs to do better. But you have to give him a full pre-season, a window to get his players in, and the time to bed all those things into place.
Yeah.
It'd be absolutely lunacy to get rid of him now. Think of how much it would cost. Think about the upheaval at the club, the different sort of targets United would have to go after. It would be another Ratcliffe madness if it happened. So it can't happen.
Well, Sam Allardyce is available if we on him.
Need a firefighter. Neil Warnock, I think he could do much worse.
Oh God, Warnock. Is he still alive? I thought
he's going. He's going strong. Going. Oh,
yeah.
Neil's going strong. He'll live forever.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it would be mad. I guess the scenario to fire Amorim, that is. I guess the scenario, if it played out the same as Ten Hag, where we go spend a couple $100 million in the summer, I mean, with sales, let's say, and they're all bad signings, and it all goes wrong, there you can play a scenario out where it's a disaster next season. He doesn't get the right players, or doesn't get any players, or has to rely on a bunch of kids, which will buy him a little bit more time with the fans at least. Maybe not the ownership, I don't know. So you can definitely paint a scenario where it all goes badly wrong. I don't expect it, but the difference between pushing for top 4, 6th or 8th is getting the right players, I think.
And you've got to give him the full season. I think it's only fair. I know that he has sort of bought the love and the popularity of the fans with his strong performances in press conference and good rhetoric, but that counts for something. And there is actually a wave of support behind Amorim, and that is one of the few positives of the club right now. So you have to harness that and use it for the momentum going into the pre-season and next season.
Yeah. Well, yeah, momentum's really important. If United finish this season in a limp fashion in the Premier League, don't win the Europa League, and it's really touch and go. It's a good bit by our side, right? They're definitely a better team than us. Valverde is a very good coach. We'll do some previews of that, but I think it's a kind of interesting way that Bilbao are playing this season. It's not full Valverde, Barcelona, tiki-taka. It's some kind of hybrid, but they've got they're really good players. You know, touch wood, Nico Williams is not fit. Sorry, Nico, but yeah, we'd really like it. If he's not, he might not be. But it's a good side, so it's touch and go. So in a scenario where we are 15th in the league, knocked out of the Europa League, not in Europe next season, starting season next season with no bank of credit apart from his personality, you can see where it'd go wrong. You know, like lose 50% of the opening 10 games. He's on a 38% win rate average right now for his time at United, right? It's unbelievably shocking. David Moyes is chuckling away at his record. So,
I'm sure he is,
yeah. So you can see where with no bank of credit, you go into next season, it goes a bit wrong in the early stage of season. Pressure is massively on.
I mean, it won't be the same as the Ten Hag situation. It won't be the same as that last at the start of this season, when everybody knew that he was basically a dead man walking if results went against him, and they immediately did. And United should have pulled the trick away before they did. We know that there's not going to be the same feeling around Amorim, even if results do go south at the start of next season, because I think that people will still believe that he can turn it around. That may be wrong. It may completely come crashing down, but I think we always need to see if that happens come April, March, April next year. I know that will be way too long for a lot of fans to wait for any kind of success or a reset to happen at the club. But I still think that you've picked Amorim. You could have waited until almost now or in a month or two's time to get him from Sporting. You insisted that he came mid-season. That was to give him the chance to experiment, to put things into place. And it really starts on the first ball is kicked for next season.
Great spot to end on, I think. Interesting times as always at United. Dominic, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Pleasure.
All right, plug for anyone listening. You can watch us on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces. Stop calling Dominic Harry Maguire. He's got a new haircut. It's not a Harry Maguire haircut anymore either.
I don't mind it.
If you're watching us, you can catch us wherever you get podcasts. There is The Extra Show for backers on Patreon or Apple Podcasts, if you like that kind of thing. And also, a final plug for the Lost Tapes. Final episode of this season comes out today or tomorrow when you're listening to this. It's on 58 to 68. Some fantastic interviews with some of the guys who are in that period of rebuilding after Munich. We'll be in touch with what's going to happen with season 2. Bye now.